Bryce Merrill, and I am the head coach of the BYU Chi Ultimate Team. And it was a great mix of just some really fun people and really laid back social activity. It was what made my BYU experience. So I was super grateful for it because it really, it defined what I did in college and like who my friends were and friends are, and it has since.
So you just played all?
In the college ultimate landscape, or in the ultimate landscape, the teams that are most successful understand the community structure that builds that up. It's entry level in elementary and middle school programs. Just get more kids playing. It's not about turning them into club athletes and having them run really rigid practice sets at 10 years old. It's just about opportunities to play. It's about high school teams that are coached by elite level club and college players so that they do start to learn some of these sets and learn some of the throws and learn how a system works and learn the value of possession and the structure of layers of defense and some of those things. It's then a college program that pushes a club program that pulls from the college programs, semi-pro teams that can take the best 10, 15, 20 athletes and build that national brand and get that experience that then right back down the path trickles down to these coaches who can build up better YCC and high school players who then excite more younger siblings and kids to play in local non-competitive participating leagues. And so it's D, all of the above. Chi couldn't be what it was without Utah Ultimate Disc Association, and Utah Ultimate Disc Association couldn't inspire players without programs like Chi to show them what the top level of the game looks like. And as we, a couple years ago, and working with like the BYU Student Life department and all that to talk to them about our program, we interviewed our players, and 60% of them at the time, and that was a few years ago, said their decision to come to BYU was strongly influenced by the opportunity to play for our team. You consider where I want to go and what program I want to get into and what I want to do in school and all that. And really, for a lot of them, they wanted to play for BYU Ultimate. And so they came here. They obviously had to get the grades, or they had to make it work, but they wanted to come here for this. And so at this point, it's a program, it's a destination, it's a purpose-driven team that is going to pull these students in and go from there. One of my favorite stories, I'm long-winded. One of my favorite stories ever is I had a good parent of one of the local high school kids, and he brought his 7th grader to watch us play Utah State. And as he's sitting there and we're walloping on Utah State, we're up 10-3 or something like that. We're feeling pretty good. It's in the stadium. It's at the old Provo High School stadium, and there's people in the stands, and he looks at his son, who is just loving watching BYU dunk on these guys. And he goes, son, if you keep practicing your throws and if you keep working to get in shape, you too can get beat by BYU by that much. And, his kid looked at him and he's like, because you're not getting your grades right and you're not doing this, you're not, doing that. And he said his kid turned his grades around right then. And it was one of those paycheck moments for me. It's like, I'm glad I could be a tool for a parent to help their kid get excited about grades. And he actually got accepted into BYU last year and is now, a participant in the program. And I'm like, that's a pretty cool, 7-year look back story. And I don't want to embarrass him as now that he's a player, but I can't wait to tell that story, as he ends his career, to think, hopefully this was what helped, just like my college experience was made great by BYU Ultimate. I hope his college experience is defined by that, and that he was able to get here because of catching and throwing a Frisbee with some friends. That's a pretty neat story for me, like from a program standpoint. It's critical, and BYU works really hard to make sure that the students that are here do not get lost in the shuffle. 35,000 very talented students, and everyone who's very driven, and everyone who is probably in the top X% of their high school group or their whatever group in terms of grades. Then they come here and they are, massive pond, teeny little fish, and they get lost. And so I think about that. And BYU, I think there's a huge value for them to recognize that us and the Quidditch program and the sketch comedy program and create these micro communities in addition to, religious communities that they have, or apartment buildings and friend pools. If you have a common or shared activity like this, it's of incredible value. And so, even meeting with the Dean of Student Life and the extramural department, I think they understand that and recognize that a small investment in programs like this take care of a lot of work, stuff that we in the ultimate community are doing for 100, 150, 250 athletes across development programs and city leagues and rec programs and the competitive men's and women's teams, I think they see the value to say, like, I belong at BYU because of Ultimate. On the other hand, I think, for a market that is increasingly competitive for sports allegiance and viewership, Ultimate is a program that is really exciting, has a lot of great traction on the national television and all that. And so as you have a university that wants to continue to build its brand and its sort of ambassadorship for the university, for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, there is a chance for another outlet to another population that might not connect with traditional sports or might not connect with research. And so you have another chance for the university and its brand to, again, connect with people that might not have otherwise had first-person experiences. I think that's reflected in the players' experience as they go to tournaments and interact with people and answer basic questions about the university or about the tenets of our religion, but also just in, even if they're not asking those questions, I think they have some first-person touch points, and I think that's, again, always a good thing for the BYU community to build up and support those types of relationships. Yeah, it's a unique season. We're coming off of COVID. There was a truncated season. There was a non-season. There's a current season going on that didn't really work for us because of Sunday play. And so we are approaching the spring 2022 season with 2 years of practice under our belt and not much else. 2 years of a lot of personal development or at-home workouts and limited practice. And obviously now, more recently, full practices, but a lot of development for 2 years for this. We ended that last season at number 1 in the country. And that was with a lot of different players and a lot of different things back then against a lot of different opponents. But I think our expectation remains there. And it remains to be seen if that's even feasible. We think it is. We have a lot of talent. We've put in a lot of work. But until you get on the field with opponents that are at the same sort of level, we just don't know. That earning that number 1 and number 2 spot was one of the toughest things we've ever done. The amount of work, to get from 10 to 5 pales in comparison to get from 5 to 2 or 5 to 1. It's such a steep climb there at the end. And so we've done that work and we've had success, but the scores happen. We'll worry about the systems, we'll worry about the habits, we'll worry about the input we have, and then the scores will happen. We hope that keeps us at the top of the game and at the top of the country, but it's never a guaranteed thing. And we'll put in the work and we'll set up the rules and then see what happens. So it'll be a unique tournament landscape. 2 of our favorite tournaments used to be a few weeks apart. Now they're back-to-back weekends. So we're going to have to pick and choose between where we go. And that means new tournaments. That means new opponents or new sort of cycles to the season. And so we'll sort of see how that goes. But, we feel we have the talent to win any single game we want to. And we also have the youthfulness and we're in the stage of learning that we could lose any game that we play. Just, we're not so good that we just can't not perform and then still expect to win. So we have a lot of talent and they're doing a lot of work, and I think it'll work out for us, but that's why we play the games. We're excited to see.